Hello and welcome. My name's Leanne. I live in Australia and this is my crafty cupboard.
Hello. I had a viewer request of how do I organise, so welcome to the crafty cupboard tour. So in this drawer here I have sewing machine threads. This was actually a gift and it was a wonderful gift. I guess it's very, very useful. I have not had to buy cotton for a long time because whatever I'm sewing close enough to the right colour is right here. At the back I have a jar of spare sewing machine bobbins, a jar of quilting pins. Any little containers like these I keep. These are actually the glue refill containers and I put needles in them when I'm travelling so that they're nice and safe. I love this. This is the best bobbin organisation I have ever found because they're rubber, so they're easy to get in and out, but also they do clip hold of the ends of the thread nicely, so everything sort of stays nice and secure. It doesn't end up all crazy with threads everywhere. So I really love those, and you can see I'm not using my third one yet. They came as a set of 3. Honestly, best thing I've ever had. Years ago I made one out of timber, and it was just like this, you know, a timber with holes in it with dowel for the bobbins to go on. But you know, it didn't have a way of holding in the end of the thread, and so it would end up quite chaotic. And then down here I've just tucked extra pins. Whoops. That I'm not currently using. So drawer, and then directly underneath I try and keep the next shelf as well thread related, so that's where my scissors are hiding. Don't tell the family. I can't tell you how many pairs of dressmaking scissors have been destroyed. And this is another way that I organise my threads. So this is what I had before I was given the gift of the other threads in the drawer. And this is just a bamboo cutlery tray organiser from Kmart. And you can see that it mostly holds the threads nice and easily. This row here, they didn't quite fit, so I'm just standing them up there. And still thread related, these are the threads I use for te mari, and in here I have the needles that I use for that as well. I've got some plain ones ready to be decorated, and this is a strip of paper I use for measuring out the te mari. And this is a work in progress. That's not a te mari ball, but it's a little crocheted flower butterfly. So I put it in there just to be safe so I don't lose the template. The idea is that you put all the little flowers in. And then on the door I have my skeins of cotton. I have those colours there. If I know what the colours are, you can see they're labelled. I like this. This has been my best way to organise threads because they don't get kinks from the cards. They're looking a little ratty at the moment because the hook did come off and they crashed, and I haven't done a tidy up. I thought let's just see the cupboard how it is. But yes, so I've actually cut the ends of these so I can just pull a length and use it as is. I actually store my embroidery threads in a few different ways, so you'll see a few different ways in the cupboard. Under here, this is my cupboard for current projects. So I have the pages of my art journal sitting there to be bound one day together. For now they're just sitting together in a pile, and a sashiko panel that I've completed and not yet decided what to do. This is a kit I bought in Japan to make this little cute wall hanging. Yes, all sorts of things. They're my patterns of projects in progress. Didn't put them back very neatly, but anyway, that's okay. All right, let's come up above to the first shelf. Now on my shelves, I try and sort of put things in colour because I find my brain just remembers things better that way. So I have fabric that's ready to be used. These are little fat quarters, just folded up there, sort of similar colourways. These are quilting rulers and flower press, pink and blue ribbons. The quilting clips actually aren't normally there, but they've obviously just been shuffled for a minute while I was looking for something. And then here I've just got kits to work on. So these would have been kits that I bought secondhand to make up. So they're just sitting there. What I found was that I find myself very attracted to craft stores and wanting to buy things when I go in craft stores. And of course the reason is they've put things on display and they're beautiful to look at. And when things are tucked away in a cupboard inside your own home, you forget you have them. So that's what I'm basically working on the premise of, just keeping everything on display so I can see it at all times and be reminded to go and grab it. This is a light box, you know, those flat ones. Love this. But yes, so I just keep that on the side there. And again, there's a couple of magazines there that have projects in them that I'm wanting to do. All right, so let's go up to the next shelf. So you can see this is my purple shelf. And I've got little beads in glass jars, trims, purple ribbons stacked up there, tamari on display. This is a little felted version of our dear Cavi, who's no longer with us, Ruby. So I did a workshop with a teacher and worked from a photo to create Ruby. Really loved that workshop. A little finished embroidery piece. Still trying to work out what I want to do with that. Probably frame it. These have just been tucked here. I found those cats the other day and thought I want to use those for my sewing piece, and thought, well, if I put them on the shelf with Ruby, I'll remember where they are. This is an unpicker, Brazilian embroidery threads. Again, some more secondhand kits that I've purchased to work on. And then here I've got some fabrics. These are wrapped around, what do you call them? The comic book pieces of cardboard. You can actually see on there. So I like to have all my fabrics that are big enough wrapped there on the shelves, again sorted in colourways, so that I can remember I have them. And I've got some beautiful sock yarn just tucked back there, ready to make a pair of socks in the future. Okay, onto the pink shelf. On the pink shelf I've got a jar of trims and a jar of new skeins of thread. Well, when I say new, I mean new to me. They're bought secondhand. But the ones I haven't opened yet, I actually just keep them in the jar. Up the back, I've got all my Mums and Nan's crochet hooks and a big jar of, again, secondhand crochet thread ready to use. Aren't these the sweetest little dried flowers? I actually bought those in a craft store. I tend to keep any projects on the go displayed on my shelf so I can remember what I'm doing. and gorgeous needle holder, and this lovely sewing machine. You might have noticed I had one on my purple shelf too. I have two sisters and were gifted these from my sisters at the same birthday, which was a funny coincidence. Gorgeous, love them. And this is a tape measure, absolutely beautiful, and again, because it's pink, I remember which shelf it's on. That was a gift from some lovely friends. And again, just some random beads in jars ready to use, and some braid. So that's the pink shelf. I have to climb the ladder to get to the next shelf, so I'll climb up now. Okay, so I've just climbed the ladder to get up to the top shelf here. So this is everything sort of wool related. So I have, some yarn ready to go. This just matched in terms of colour, this temari, that's why it's on display here. Pom-pom animals. My daughter had a go at making one of the pom-pom animals. Jar full of embroidery wools. And these are balls that I'm going to use for felting, doing more animals. And again, just some more wool in a jar at the back, and a couple of magazines. On the next top shelf, I have my Japanese fabrics. And so any small pieces I've just folded there to make a display. Another temari ball. Just a jar of mini cottons that I bought secondhand that look cute in terms of colour on this shelf. A couple of books about Japanese handicrafts. Dyeing kit for shibori. And again, Japanese fabrics organised on cards. I have them on each side. And this is leftover fabric from when I dyed fabric to make a quilt. So they're just stacked there. And this jar is full of any scraps that were too small to sort of sit and fold neatly. Up the back there I have just my strong threads that I used for bear making mostly. And they're there because the colours of these flowers and the kokeshi doll remind me of the colour that's where they're to be found. Okay, I'm going to climb down the ladder. So speaking of the ladder, I have a couple of finished projects hanging off. So this is a table runner that I've made for a friend for her birthday later this year. And then this is my shibori dyed quilt that I made and designed. All right, so let's move the ladder to the other side so you can see these shelves. All right, so this shelf here, green and purple type colorways. So I have some Japanese books here. I bought clear acrylic book holders to hold up all my things. That's what holds up the fabrics as well, actually. So this is that crocheted butterfly I was showing you. And then this is a book about temari. And then this one is about embroidery. Just some mini cuts of fabrics there in rolls. Box full of different coloured beads. This is a fabulous gift as well. Very, very useful. Different ribbons just stored in bowls. Another tape measure that fits the colourway of this shelf. A mini canvas waiting to be painted. Got some more books. Yeah, so I just rotate which one is in front from time to time, because your eye gets used to seeing things, doesn't it? It's good to change things around. I've got felted animals and Miko Saito's floral bouquet quilts. Hanging on the side, I use these big ring clips on the ladder rail to house carded embroidery skeins and ribbons, silk threads, and then I've got a chatelaine and a ring just holding all my thimbles and threaders and needle cutters, so I can always find them just hanging there in the middle. Okay, this shelf is mostly fabric. So you can just see the acrylic book holder there holding them up, and they're all on those comic book cards. You know, it's the cardboard that they put in comic books to sort of keep them from flopping around, keep them archived. Lovely bouquet of dried flowers and my massive jar of buttons, which is much fun to get out and rummage through. Also have a few books on this and the shelf below because I love reading. So again, whatever I'm currently reading at the moment, I have out. So this is more my art shelf. This is all of my bookbinding supplies. This is just random tools. I tend to take this one out and put this on the table for whatever I'm doing at the time. So some scissors, brush pens, rotary cutter, applique glue. This is a jar filled with a broken necklace, so that's sitting there to use those beads up. In the back is some crepe paper to make tissue paper flowers. And then this caddy houses my small brushes. My big brushes actually don't fit, but I very, very rarely use big brushes, and so they're in my old cupboard upstairs. Pens, watercolour, paints, some paper for watercolour, and my old sealed up visual art diary, pulling out the caddy made everything fall, so I just have to pull it right out so we can see what's there. This is the needles I use for bookbinding, and it's my current visual art journal, and some pens, some scrapbooking paper, watercolour markers, the Inktense ones, watercolour paints. Oops. Hang on, let's take that out properly so you can see those. This has become a crafty cupboard trashing instead of a crafty cupboard tour. Hang on a minute. Okay, so that was the watercolour set I was trying to show you. This is sitting out at the moment because I'm nearly finished a paint by number set, a painting of the Eiffel Tower, and I purchased it because I love the mauvey greys that were displayed on the image on the box. However, it's mostly very garish yellow and blue. Not at all impressed with the colour matching, but anyway, it's still been an interesting project to sort of learn how blobs of colour can actually come together to give an illusion of a proper image. And then this is just a little watercolour art diary that I made. Just a little miniature, and I'm just doing little miniature flowers in it when I feel like it, using these little mini brushes. Alright, so leaning against the cupboard here, I've got my two work bags. So I've shown these in a previous video. I store all my projects that I'm working on in bags so that I have everything I need and ready to go. Embroidery hoop hanging there. Okay, this drawer I haven't worked on anything in it for a while. It's actually my bookbinding drawer, so I just keep like, you know, junk magazines, that junk mail, so that that can be on my work surface. This is tracing paper. Been trying out some calligraphy. This is actually Yupo paper for ink. What do you call that? Alcohol inks. So yeah, it's like a shiny sort of surface, so the ink, you know, spreads on it. So this was me experimenting and then trying to turn it actually into things. So it's mostly experimenting, but then you can see I finally got it sort of making poppy style flowers. They're just scrap paper that I can work on when I'm gluing, etc. Yeah, and just sort of random scrapbooking papers form up the rest of that drawer, ready for bookbinding. It's my paper drawer. Okay, this drawer has got my sewing patterns, a box of beads, and this is all the offcuts of wadding and backing from quilting, so that I can use those up. I have a box here for beading supplies. I just use these because they fit well in the cupboard. So it's just those sort of kitchen food storers. This is a box of Japanese papers for Japanese paper crafts. This is a knitting needle holder, essentially. You can see a little box of beads balanced on top. This is where I hold my knitting needles and bigger notions. That's one of those flower looms. Move this bag out of the way. Okay, this drawer is for sewing in progress. Dressmaking. So you can see I want to make a dress with this linen and some pajama pants. What's this pattern? Oh, a top. Yes, I want to get going on sewing a top as well. Okay, so this is again fabric storage. So small pieces of fabric I fold up. And again, it's in these same sort of containers from the kitchen. This is a sashiko embroidery box. This is general embroidery, so hoops and materials in there. This is my bear making box. So they're the pens that I use for colouring bears' faces and things. Some handles from a second-hand store to turn into a bag. These are bear eyes and teddy bear joints and my watercolour tubes. These are just scrapbooking supplies. These are little drawers that I'm pulling out. I think they're for the fridge, to organise your fridge. This is my overlocker thread and a zipper holder. Again, and the zippers are all second-hand. I just buy them second-hand, or if anything has worn out and can't be used as clothing, I salvage the zippers. Did I do every drawer? No, there's one more. This is my drawer of I want to's. I want to make this. Again, I bought this beautiful workbox kit for $3. This is from the Sewing Basket. Fabulous stores all throughout Sydney where you can buy second-hand sewing goods. So make a little pouch. I like supporting them. This is a bag that I've already made before. One of Monica Poole's bags I want to make again. So the materials for that are sitting in here, ready to go. again, another little second-hand find. It's a little brooch kit. The kit that you saw I made the table runner from was from a company called Stitch Between the Bridges, and this is another kit. Sorry, knock at the door. I don't know what I was talking about. Anyway, so yeah, this is another table runner or wall hanging kit. And has very colourful fabrics to go with it, which is a bit outside of my comfort zone. That's why I bought them to challenge myself to use different colours. Okay, this cupboard has got, this is my box of things that I use for current projects. So this is what I'm dipping into when I'm making the Down the Garden Path quilt. And I try and be very disciplined and put them all back, fold it up once I've cut a bit and put them to use. And anything that's super tiny goes in this box, so that's got tiny little scraps of fabric. And these are notions like a bear turning tool, those bias makers, buttons, elastic, scissors sharpener, and my knitting bag, which I've shown in a previous video, and the other colours of my skeins of embroidery thread. So that is the whole crafty cupboard as it is today. I like to change things around, and if I find there's things on there that I'm sick of looking at or I'm not using, then it's time to shuffle them around or move them on or make them so that it stays a really, really useful space. One more thing to show you here is the super organised storage system that I have. It's just the bag that it came in, and it's my felt mat for ironing when I'm ironing quilting projects next to me, and my cutting mat, and other little cutting mats, and a big piece of cardboard in case it comes in useful. So the big items just tuck in there behind the cupboard. And then this little set of drawers is chaos. So this set of drawers is all offcuts of dressmaking projects that I can delve into. And again, bigger offcuts from that table runner that you saw me make. These are big pieces of dressmaking fabric. And yeah, again, bigger pieces and offcuts of things that I've made. So this tends to be sort of the drawers of chaos for big offcuts or big pieces of dressmaking fabric. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. Thanks for coming and having a look at the crafty cupboard with me today.